watching News 4 San Antonio.
New video tonight. 2 men arrested late this afternoon on capital murder charges. San Antonio police say they shot and killed a 77-year-old man during a robbery outside a Southside gas station. We'll tell you how they were caught in just a few moments, but first. We start with the latest on this weekend's mass shootings, bringing terror to Texas and Ohio. In El Paso, the district attorney will seek the death penalty against the man accused of killing 20 people. In Dayton, Ohio, 9 people are confirmed dead. The accused gunman shot to death by police less than a minute after the shooting broke out around 1 a.m. local time. Today, new details are emerging as authorities try to piece together the events of this deadly weekend. In El Paso, we now know one of the victims was a mother of 3 who died shielding her 2-month-old baby. We do have team coverage on these attacks, especially in El Paso. News 4 San Antonio's Zach Hedrick is near Dallas at the family home connected to the alleged shooter. But we begin with our Joe Galley. He's live in El Paso with the latest on the investigation and a city in mourning. Joe.
Good afternoon, Robert. We've been here at the crime scene all day long, and outside the crime scene, it's been very active. People from all over El Paso have been coming by to stop and pay their respects. It's also been very active inside the Walmart, where crime scene investigators are still working. Unfortunately, the remains of some of the people who have died are still inside that Walmart. Crime scene investigators are working very hard to finish their job so that those remains can be released to grieving families.
This will not define us, and we will move ahead.
El Paso police say 21-year-old Patrick Crucius is being cooperative and answering investigators' questions. Currently charged with capital murder, federal investigators are looking to also add firearms, hate crimes, and domestic terrorism charges, all of which come with the possibility of the death penalty if convicted.
We are treating it as a domestic terrorism case, and we're going to do what we do to terrorists in this country, which is deliver swift and certain justice.
Investigators are looking at a 4-page manifesto posted online where the shooter allegedly writes his motivation for the attack was to kill Mexicans.
From the manifesto that we first saw, we have to attribute that manifesto directly to him.
The Mexican consulate confirms at least 6 of the 20 dead are Mexican nationals. Victims with gunshot wounds are recovering in 3 different area hospitals. Memorials with flowers have begun to grow outside the crime scene as this community begins a long and arduous grieving process.
Because this really hit home. I don't know what's more shocking to me or more saddening to me, the actual shooting or the motives behind it.
Nearby areas that were used as reunification areas yesterday are now places where people are gathering to grieve. There is going to be a number of candlelight vigils this evening. Reporting live in El Paso, I'm Joe Galley. Back to you.
Thank you, Joe. We now head to the Dallas area where the FBI has descended on the hometown of the suspected shooter, looking into his background and looking for any possible evidence. News 4 San Antonio, Zach Hedrick joins us live from Allen to tell us what he's learned. Zach.
Well, Robert, earlier this morning, it was a hub of activity. Agents from the FBI, ATF were outside this house in Allen, which is an affluent suburb about 30 minutes north of Dallas right now. Just a couple of officers from the Allen Police Department stationed out here right now. They tell us that a grandfather of the accused gunman lives here, and court records also show that this house is associated with the accused shooter. This afternoon, authorities released the mugshot of the 21-year-old shooter, accused of opening fire in a crowded Walmart in El Paso, killing 20 people and injuring 26 more. The El Paso district attorney says the suspect now faces a charge of capital murder.
So he is eligible for the death penalty. We will seek the death penalty.
The U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Texas says they are now investigating the shooting as domestic terrorism and considering federal hate crime and gun charges.
And we're going to do what we do to terrorists in this country, which is deliver swift and certain justice.
Detectives are still trying to link a manifesto posted online to the suspect. The post calls the, quote, Hispanic invasion of Texas, close quote, as one motivation for the attack. Investigators revealed today the suspect is cooperating.
He was forthcoming with information. He basically didn't hold anything back. Particular questions were asked, and he responded in the way it needed to be answered.
The Allen Police Department says it has had limited prior contact with the man identified as the El Paso shooter, having no record of any activity he may have been engaged or involved in. And we've spoken with several neighbors who live nearby. They say they haven't really seen the suspect at this house before. Meanwhile, the FBI also said in that press conference earlier today that they had 2 other search warrants here in the Dallas area, but no details released of what they recovered from this house or the 2 other sites as well. Robert, back to you.
Thank you, Zach. Even here in San Antonio, people touched by this tragedy are doing what they can to help the victims recover. News 4 San Antonio's David Caltabiano joining us now live after spending some time at the local blood bank. David.
Oh, Robert, I just got off the phone with them. They say they need more donors. They're experiencing a blood shortage so far. They have not given any blood to El Paso as of yet, but they are on standby, which is why they're calling for your help. At the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center,
make known that the need is constant.
A blood shortage they've been experiencing since the start of summer.
Right now, we need all blood types.
Mary Eulig with the center says the need is urgent, especially with a mass shooting in El Paso and now in Dayton, Ohio.
A trauma situation like El Paso makes it so clear that it's vital to have blood on the shelves before a tragedy occurs.
Eulig says they're on standby for victims undergoing treatment in El Paso. She's urging more people to come here in case they get the call.
Certainly in trauma situations, O negative and O positive donors are particularly important, as well as platelet donors.
After the events of El Paso and Ohio yesterday, I thought it's very important to get in here.
Dawn Schultz is doing what she can, donating her very rare blood type.
AB negative.
She hopes more people will follow suit, not only to help victims, but stock the center with more blood and eliminate the shortage. Now, for more information and for donating blood, head to our website. That's news4sa.com. Robert.
Thank you, David. Also want to share these pictures from El Paso. That's Chanel and Rudy from Methodist Healthcare System here in San Antonio. They're known as facility dogs, and they just arrived in El Paso this afternoon. We're told Chanel and Rudy will be providing their unconditional love and support to all the first responders, helping them cope through this traumatic time. We will continue to stay on top of this for you. As new details surface, we'll bring them to you here on 4 and on our website, news4sa.com.
The assailant was obviously very, very close to being able to kill dozens and dozens more people.
The other shooting massacre making headlines, the one that happened overnight at an arts and entertainment district in Dayton, Ohio. What authorities say prevented many other lives from being taken after the break.